Blab session. And as we go along, I'd love for you to tweet this out to your contacts, because that's how we have these wonderful conversations here on Blab. Tweet this out to your universe of contacts. And again, the title is My Story Marketing, Daily Action Plan Towards Building Greater Influence. I'm going to open up the seat and encourage people that are here to step in and join in this conversation. So how I've envisioned taking this forward is to just go through the daily action plan and some of the steps that I've outlined, and then encourage you to come in and share the steps that you have. First of all, what it is that you have as your value statement. What's the unique offer that you have, and what is your daily action plan? How are you delivering your value to a larger audience? What are the steps that you have in your daily action plan, and what do you feel from what we've outlined can be incorporated into the daily action plan that you may already have? So again, here we go. And let me see if I can pull some notes up, because notes for me are important. Notes for me are important. Okay, great. And so let me get that over here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so let's, again, the seat is open, and I encourage any of you that are joining this Blab conversation to come in and take a seat. The conversation is on your daily action plan for building greater influence online. And I've outlined in the notes, if you're just coming to the Blab, I've just outlined in the notes 5 suggested steps towards a daily action plan, things that you would be doing every day to help you deliver your value to a larger audience. Step 1 would be obviously embracing, well, it may not be obvious, to embrace your vision, to absolutely call to mind every day, every morning as you arise and wake, what it is that you have as a value, as an offer that you want to share. And then from that point, from embracing your vision, get into, okay, how is it today that I want to, number 2, create the content that is a part of my offer. So whether I'm in, no matter what my profession is, how do I create the content that's a part of my offer? Number 3 is how do I give greater exposure to my offer to a larger audience? What methods am I going to be using, right? And what does your online audience, what does your online presence look like now, right? Are you marketing daily? Does your website, does your blog site provide a consistently good message for the value that you are delivering? How can social media be used to build exposure and engagement? How can social media be used to build advocacy, on a daily basis for what it is that you are offering? Does video play a part in your daily strategy for exposure? In some cases, it may not. It may be that you are the developer of a product, and that product is something that can be offered to the masses without you necessarily having to do a personal video. But do you have any videos that share your product? And how does video fit into your daily action plan, if it fits in at all? So we're talking about methods of exposure now. What form of advertising fits your offer, and what kind of advertising are you doing on a daily basis? Is advertising a part of your daily method of action? Is it a part of your daily action plan? And if so, is it pay per click? Are you using Google or Facebook or solo ad campaigns? Is it pay per view? Are you using YouTube as a part of your daily marketing strategy? Are you using banner advertising in journals or in magazines or other specialty media? All of these are questions that I'm encouraging each one of us to have as we look at our daily action plan and how we execute it. Because for sure, if you are not executing on your daily action plan, your ideas then rest in obscurity. You become obscure. You don't become known, right? And being obscure is absolutely a recipe for not reaching the goals that you have in your life for yourself, not reaching the state of being an influence on your family and on others who absolutely are hungry for your output, for your input. We all have been created to do something special. So this conversation today is, really focusing on your story. How is it that you are taking your story and then putting tasks, daily specific tasks behind your story to give your story and your value, your offer, more exposure on a daily basis? Would anyone love to come in and share the seat? And let's just get this conversation going. So as I'm going through this, engagement, Zach Shahid. Okay, fantastic. Engagement and follow-up is another important aspect of developing your action plan. Welcome, Zach Shahid.
Hey, Matthew, how's it going?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm awesome. I can't complain, sir. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for jumping in the seat and taking part of the discussion. Wonderful topic, my story marketing, how you or anyone takes the value of your life experience and blends it in with your unique offer, whatever it is that you have, a talent, a skill set, a product or service that you're wanting to offer to the marketplace, to the world. And then behind that, just right in tandem with that, the daily action plan. What are the daily steps that you're using that allow your story to have life, that allow your story to be the thing that drives the value that you're giving to the world? Your story being the thing that drives your value. What is it that you're doing daily to drive that, to give it life?
Oh, yeah. This is an awesome topic. I'm so glad to be on. My story marketing is very, very important. So I'm looking at the 5 things you have over here about having a vision, the content creation, and the biggest thing that I really want to speak on tonight, you said it earlier, is the value, right? The value. You have to be giving the marketplace value. One thing I realized with my marketing efforts and in business in general, that people love to do business or they love to partner with people they like, know, and trust. So with my story marketing, your story is powerful. So one thing I want everybody that's watching this blab to understand is you have a story to tell and someone needs to hear your story. So don't be afraid to share your story. So when I first got started with internet marketing, I was really afraid of making videos. Like I would never do something like this, a blab to where I know thousands of people could be watching me, right now. But what I had a mentor right live, but I had a mentor tell me that don't be afraid to mess it up because people want to see someone who is genuine, want to see that realness. So you don't have to get it perfect. So he was like, you don't have to be perfect to start, but you really have to start though. You have to start somewhere. So, I started doing more videos. So when it comes to my daily method of operation. I try to do one video every single day, on a different topic that I feel like is going to provide value to the marketplace. So what happens with video? Okay, with social media, anybody can make a post, right? Anybody can put a quote out there. Anybody can make a random post. But when you make a video, when you do engagements like Blab, people are really getting to know you. They see you, so it's building more like, know, and trust. So one of my first things I do every single day is I create content that I can put in a video. And then I go make a video, about that content, and I share it on YouTube, Facebook, wherever I'm going to put it at to get the content, out to the masses. So
I want to ask you a question, Zach.
All right.
So you've decided your statement was about value, and this is an open discussion. So I'm encouraging like a lot of engagement in the comment stream, and I want you to really key in. For those of you who are just coming to the Blab, scroll up to the top of the notes in the comment section, and you'll see 5 suggested things that I've placed there that are action steps towards a daily method of operation. And we've got Abundant Travel coming in into this conversation too. So let me go ahead and let Abundant Travel in. Hey, young lady, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, Toya. Thank you so much. Have you been watching? You understand what the conversation is
I
about?
had a problem getting in. I had to download the app and so forgive me for my tardiness.
Okay, well, just do me a favor. I'm going to let you catch up. Go into the comment stream, look in the comment stream, and see what this conversation is about.
Okay.
And as you're following along, I'm sure you're going to have some wonderful input, and we're going to bring you right back into the seat. Fair enough?
Okay.
All right. Fantastic. Awesome. So I was asking you, in your action plan, Zach Shahid, for your value that you're wanting to deliver, what is it about your product or service? You have to share with us what is it that that you have as your value, your unique offer, and how did you determine that video needed to be a part of your daily action plan? Because it's one thing to have an action plan, but I think the audience wants to know the reasons behind, because in every, for as many different things as there are for people to fall in love with and engage, for as many different interests as there are people, some of those interests, when a person is trying to deliver that interest to others, it may not necessitate video. How did you determine that video needed to be a part of your daily action plan?
For one, again, I go back to, like I said, I was talking to a mentor of mine, and my mentor has built massive businesses. All right. So my mentor said when he first got started, he did a video a day. He would do one video every single day. And he recommended that I do the same thing to get my name out there, to get more exposure, to get more engagement. So that's how I started with the video piece, talking to my mentor. Now, as far as coming up with the content, I had to figure out, and a lot of you out there probably watching this right now, you have to figure out what you're passionate about and what you can talk about naturally so it doesn't feel like it's coming off like it's too hard to talk about it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So it has to feel natural. So one of the things that I have always been good at is leading high performance teams, helping people achieve whatever it is their goal is, so I decided that since I have a background in network marketing and consulting and training, that I was going to take my brand and brand myself as a consultant for other people in that industry to help them be able to get their story out to the masses, regardless of what company they're with, what type of product they're selling. I wanted to provide value to them, to show them, how to market their product and service to the world, to the masses.
So that's my point. In your value statement, in your value offering, you are delivering personal services.
Right, absolutely.
Personal coaching services, personal professional coaching services, strategies. And so it's important that for your audience, for the value that you're delivering, that you are developing a persona online, that people can come online and see who you are, see some of the work that you've done, see some of the alliances that you've made, possibly see some other people who are doing testimonials about your work. And so because of the type of value that you're delivering in the marketplace, video is very important for you.
Absolutely. And to kind of piggyback off of Social Sales Link question, you know, she said she does a blog post every week, and do she think it's too much? Well, I do a blog post as well. I have my own personal blog where I brand myself. And honestly, on my blog, I do something every other day on my blog. But this goes back to what I said earlier about having enough content, enough valuable content to be able to put on your blog. So when your audience reads it, they don't feel like it's fluff. Okay, so what I do with my blogs and my video, you know, being a consultant, you know, what I do is I teach people in my videos, in my blog, I tell them what to do, put it like that. So I'll tell them what to do in the video or in the blog. So for instance, I made a video yesterday, and the video was about your target audience and knowing who your target audience is and how, and going out there to get your target audience. So I told them what to do. I told them, go find the target audience, know who your target audience is. Now, as a consultant, when somebody reads my blog or to see my video, they will say, okay, Zach has told me what to do. Now I need to know how to do it. So now when they reach out to me, somebody will say, just like Social Sales Link, she'll say, well, Zach, how do I do it? Now, as a consultant, I can go ahead and work with them one-on-one to teach them how to. Hope that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. And we have Nadim Ahmed. Thank you so much, Nadim, for joining us on the Blab session. Share with us, a little bit about what it is that you do and how a daily action plan fits into your marketing plan.
That one's for me, right?
That one's for your name is Nadim.
That's all you.
I was just trying to quiet down my 3-year-old just so I have an opportunity to add some value to this conversation, right? It's very nice to meet you as well, Zach. You got a lot of real cool things that you're sharing. Just two things that I wanted to bring up was the content, especially in the world of internet marketing. A lot of it is regurgitated or repetitive. Anybody can Google something and find out how to do something specific, but the part where you stand out is where you share your story. So it's your story that's going to set you apart from everyone else. Like anybody can Google something as simple as how to rank for SEO or something like that. But when you share your hustle and you share your grind, I did it this way and it worked for me, you're going to instantly start relating with a lot of other people at your level. And that's where you start building your own tribe, you start building your own audience, you start building your own following, versus trying to copy everybody else and trying to do what they're doing. So for a lot of people, especially when I started out, I had this mental roadblock about creating content. And every single time I would put something together, I was like, well, gee, they could just Google this, right? And then I got to a point where I started creating product, and then I mixed it up with my own story as well, where I have a design background, where I have a branding background, and how I can incorporate those values as an entrepreneur and as a consultant and bring it in as a value add to the content that people are going to be buying from you or downloading from your website.
Awesome.
So don't ever get hung up on that. Sorry?
No, I was just saying awesome. We also have the lovely Miss Tillman with us this evening.
Hi, I'm Bryn. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me here. This is such a great topic, and I'm curious. So I am a LinkedIn trainer. I have a little tribe. I have some blogs that have gotten over 100,000 views on LinkedIn and some that get 200. Never really quite sure exactly why things are contagious and why they aren't. I find it very interesting. My thing, and I hear what you're saying, I mean, I really know I bring value. I never talk about my story, almost never. So this really intrigued me, why I kind of hopped in here, because
Awesome.
most of what I talk about is how to do something.
Okay.
So here's a strategy. This is how you ask for client referrals, and this is how you get them, and this is what you say, and then this is what you do. And people love that, but nobody really knows who I am outside of she's the LinkedIn person that gives me lots of value.
Okay, and so therein is the point in this conversation of My Story Marketing, a daily action plan towards building greater influence. In your story, it may not be. See, in every story, it may not necessarily be important for you to talk about yourself. It may not be necessarily important for you to talk about yourself. However, it is important that you have a daily action plan towards building influence. So the topic tonight is, it's kind of a coy way for me to build engagement on the subject. Every business offering does not necessarily need to have your personal story as a part of the value that you deliver. For example, if you are a direct salesperson, an affiliate marketer, and you have products, widgets that you're selling to the masses, that business model does not necessitate you doing videos, right? You wouldn't be the one that would be on YouTube doing a lot of personal videos, because in your business model, you've identified a widget that the marketplace needs, that business people, business owners need to help them get to the next level or overcome some challenge that they have in their business. And so in delivering that widget, your focus is on how the widget can help. And so your videos are about that, right? But not necessarily about you. So, but at the same time, I wanted to bring out the varying daily action plans that people are executing in order to deliver their offer, their value statement. So I'm not quite sure. What is your product? Are you in personal coaching? Are you in professional coaching, or do you?
I'm trying not to be, but yeah. I'll tell you. So, I am primarily a trainer for sales teams, mostly Fortune 500 companies, but some smaller ones as well. My goal is to do more keynotes. I've had some. I love them, like kicking off sales meetings, because I'm a former. I did stand-up comedy for a while, so now I've brought that into my. It just helps, and it gets them engaged. But it's all productive too. So at the end of it, there are at the end of every keynote, there are 7 implementable takeaways that can help the salespeople grow their business.
Question.
Yep.
I have a question. That's a goal of yours. If that's one of the goals that you have in your business model, what is part of your daily action plan towards that strategy, towards getting more keynote engagements? What are you doing on a daily basis that helps you arrive at that goal?
That is such a great question, because I have not been able to differentiate what to do to get the training gigs versus what to do to get the keynotes. It's the same it's the same person that hires me. So I have struggled in the keynote world, even though I try to put keynotes on my website, and I'm still engaging the right people, and it converts to training. And believe it or not, a half-day training class or even a full-day training class does not pay as well as a keynote.
Right. And here's the other part. A keynote speaker, from my experience, is very different from a trainer for a corporation. Their style of delivery and their method in the delivery is quite different. And so where a keynote speaker is just that, this is a person who gets in front of an audience and speaks on a topic that raises that raises the enthusiasm for that topic to almost a crescendo, a fever pitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what a corporate trainer necessarily does.
Correct.
Right? And so they're different, different skill sets. So I know that you're thinking about that in your action plan on how you would develop yourself to deliver that kind of value, and how you even position yourself to deliver that kind of value, if that's one of your end goals. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's one of the areas that I'm stuck. I mean, I have to be very grateful, and I am very grateful to God and to my life that I have wonderful clients and people that embrace this, but it's still the training. And awesome. so I am grateful. I have some of the coaching, which I'm launching a second company so I can do less coaching. It's a group coaching. I won't get into that. I have partners in that company. But in this particular company, what I really want to do, and I'm wondering, and one of the reasons that I popped in with this topic is often keynotes talk more about their story. And so there's a huge differentiator between, I will talk about how I want to deal in training, and I'll talk about, but it's not emotional. I'm not connecting. And I think keynotes tend to be more of that connecting emotionally with some takeaway versus, how can I get them as productive as possible at the end of this training?
Right. Let me comment on that real quick, Mahdi, because she made a good point. I just left Atlanta last week, where the keynote speaker was Anthony Robles. And now, if anybody's not familiar with Anthony Robles, he has a great story. He was a wrestler who was born with one leg, and he became a national champion at his college. Okay, and all he did in his keynote speech was talk about his story. But see, the power in My Story Marketing is you can connect with people. We had people in that audience that really felt his story, really felt where he came from, how he grew up, what he had to go through, his struggles, how he overcame. So a lot of keynote speakers you see, they do talk a lot about their story, and they find a way kind of to tie that training back in if they can. But a lot of it is just their story, because you're getting people to really get to know you, because they see us now on the stage as somebody that has authority, somebody that people want to come speak, but they want to know where you started from. Because I guess I see what happens with keynotes. They want to know where you started from, what did you go through to get to the place where you are now. So I just want to piggyback off that, because I was just thinking that myself like a couple minutes.
Very valid point.
Awesome.
Ms. Tillman.
Brent, thank you so much. Brent, let me see if I can get some other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your help. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stick around, Brent. Nadim, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, in terms of her speaking on stage, one of the things that it goes back to Zach's comment about sharing that story, right? So it's about how comfortable you are being vulnerable on stage as well, right? In a sense, what you're doing is you're letting your guard down when you're sharing your story. So you have to be prepared, I guess, to a certain degree as far as whatever judgment may come towards yourself, right? A lot of us, we have our stories. Zach has your story. Mahdi, you have your story, right? So, right. But a small group of people in the audience might be like, yeah, whatever, right? They may not be. That's only because they don't relate to your story. That doesn't mean your story is not powerful, right? Anthony Robles is a story that you mentioned earlier, Zach. That is a story that touches so many people, because we think personally as humans, well, if you're missing a leg, that's it. You're done for, you're going to be handicapped for the rest of your life. But he actually went against all odds and went to championship level, and he beat everybody, right? So you're speaking at a universal truth, at a very, very high truth, where it connects to a lot more different people, right? But for her to be able to connect to her audience, she's got to be willing to be a bit vulnerable, share her story, win over the hearts, and then she can dive right into the training. Because once you've built an emotional connection with the audience, You tell them to do hula hoop dancing in the audience, they'll get up and start doing hula hoop dancing for you, right? And if you start telling them to mind map their business while they're sitting there with you, they'll start doing that too. So once you get over that emotional hurdle, build that connection, and then that audience is yours to take whatever direction you want.
Oh man, Matthew, I have to say this before I forget, because I get ADD sometimes, so I gotta say it while I have it. Hey, listen, oh my goodness, he just made a good point about the emotional connection, right? So for those of you who don't know my background, I have a background in corporate sales, right? So I started off in sales, and the first thing they teach you in sales is you have to make an emotional connection behind your product or service, because once you make that connection, if people feel like they connected with you, they trust you, they will buy anything from you. So that emotional connection is very, very true. I'm so glad you brought that up. And then Muhammad, it ties right back into your daily method of operation, because when I spoke to Anthony keynote speak, when he got done talking, I asked him, I said, so what do you do daily? And he said, Zach, I have to perfect my skill every single day. I do something to better my public speaking every single day. And guess what else he does? He makes videos too. So it's like, your story is very important.
Awesome. So, Leanne Isaacson.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, we're doing great. And you are, Leanne, where are you in the world?
I am in South Australia. So it is 9:44 a.m. here in my world on Monday morning. So I always say I'm in your future. It's a beautiful morning, so your future's looking really good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. And the title of our conversation tonight is My Story Marketing, Daily Action Plans Towards Building Greater Influence. And perhaps you could share with us, Leanne, what it is that you do and how you develop a daily action plan to help you get towards your goal, to some of the more specific goals that you have.
Well, you're probably talking to one of the world's worst daily action planners.
Listen at you.
But no, so I live on a farm here in South Australia. So we grow alfalfa hay and cereal hay for the horse industry. And I've been, so that's my half of me. But I've been online since 1997 and done a lot of work with adult education and online learning and all sorts of things. I put our farm business online in 2008 and pretty much market our hay online direct to customers. So I have all sorts, and I think I put in the comments before, like I think coming on here and showing all of, giving as much information and showing all of our layers is so really important. People see me. So hang on. So in the other part of my world, I work with businesses. I've got a very large LinkedIn network, which and Bryn focuses more on training, and I say we all use different, we all use the platforms for different reasons. And so I went on LinkedIn in 2007 and used it a little bit, started to learn more in 2012 about online marketing and building networks, so what I do is I actually help people make connections, and my LinkedIn network really is just a tool. Like I think it's probably since I've been on Blab that more people know about my large network, but for me it's just the way that my brain naturally works. And so I can I used to facilitate education in our whole rural region. So what I did was, I would literally be driving along the road or someone think, I wonder whether someone would like to know how to do that. And so I would find the person that could teach it. I then would find the people that wanted to learn and I would put them together. So it's just how my brain naturally works. Hey, buddy.
You're naturally a connector.
I'm naturally a connector. And the really crazy thing is that it's really only been since I've been on Blab and that penny has dropped. And it's really funny because I said to someone, that I've worked with here in my own physical world, I said, I'm actually a connection specialist. And they looked, at me and they said, Leanne, you're the only one that's not ever realized that. Oh, okay. So
isn't it amazing how we have, a platform like this or platforms like this, 21st century live streaming, as a medium that brings us together. You're on one continent, I'm on another. Nadim is north of me in Canada, and yet we're speaking to each other as though we're sitting across the table at Starbucks, getting to know each other for the first time in a lot of instances on these Blab sessions, and putting personalities together, putting business skill sets together. Listen at it, listen. Putting business skill sets together and having a great time all at the same time. Leanne, I really, really appreciate you for sitting in on our session. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add to to this conversation about daily action plan?
Not really. I suppose the only thing that and I say all the time, like the more that you share of yourself, like you just never know when something you say it touches someone or makes a difference in someone else's life. And quite often you might not even know. And that's one of the things that I've actually started to do more of, is actually letting people know when something they've said or done makes a difference or resonates, or and we all have stories and we all have different, aspects and views on the world. So for me, that's what I really enjoy is sharing and connecting people. So as I said, from a daily action plan, you're speaking to the world's worst planner.
That's okay. It's been so enjoyable, and I hope that we're connected on Blab, Leanne. I know I've connected with you. I'm hoping that you're following me also.
Absolutely.
There will be several sessions coming up. I have these sessions on Sunday, and then we have another conversation that happens on Thursday. Usually Sunday is on some aspect of my story marketing, or the bigger title, Create Lifestyle Freedom, which is an all-embracing title. Then on Thursday, I speak about a specific phenomenon that we're seeing happening all around the globe, and that is called global wealth networks, a fascinating topic about how people are locking arms across the continent using online systems like this, and making the determination that they want to have complete mastery over their daily cash flow, their weekly income, and how they manage their financial affairs, and how they want to have complete mastery over their time. So global wealth networks is a rich topic. We deal with that on Thursday, and I'd be absolutely ecstatic to have you back with us on Thursday.
That'd be fantastic. So have you got those blabs scheduled at this point in time?
We do. Yes, we do.
Okay, I'll have a look at your profile and I'll subscribe.
Let me type this into the chat stream.
That'd be great.
Just to add a quick comment to something Leanne said earlier, is about when you're good at something, you don't realize it till other people point it out to you. And me personally, that's been one of my biggest breakthroughs this year, is that I've realized how I impact, or how my skill set impacts other people's businesses, right? You may engage with somebody as a consultant for a couple hours, couple of days, maybe a month or two, but the amount of impact that individual or that person gets out of what you have just done for them it can be, at many times, it can be life-changing. So my point bringing that up is we all have to give ourselves credit, because to a certain degree, we are our own worst enemies. We are our own biggest critics because of all the challenges and the tornadoes and the tsunamis that are going on inside of our head about, did I do good enough, or did I bring enough value? Because as an artist, for example, as a marketer, and anybody that's in this audience that's listening, is as marketers, we see things in a different lens. Right? Somebody can walk up to Mahdi and say, hey, look, dude, I got this problem with my business. And 5 minutes later, Mahdi's got a solution for you. But you've been trying to figure it out for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? And what's going on here is, because maybe it's for some of us, it's a natural knack that we have, that we can kind of take the cobweb of stuff and then organize and say, here's your business, back in good hands. So, we got to give ourselves credit And one of the things that I learned from my mentor actually not too long ago is when somebody actually does compliment you, accept it as a compliment. Because in our minds, think of it like your mind is a bank account, right? A positive balance or a negative balance. There's enough negativity in our world, the one that we live in, that we have to struggle through as entrepreneurs to stay positive, right? So if those people, if your clients, if your tribe comes out to you and loads up with the positive stuff, you should be depositing that stuff into your bank. Because next time you're down yourself, because we all do get those moments, those peaks and valleys, and when you're down next time, you just have to go back to that bank account and withdraw some positive stuff. That's what it really comes down to.
Absolutely, Nadeem. That is such, and and I think it's such a, accepting people's compliments and thanks and that sort of thing is, it's not what we're naturally wired to do. And it takes a lot of it. Yeah, you're right. That is, and that's one thing that I've learned over the years. When some people give you a compliment, or I know there'll be times that I'm actually just out shopping, and someone will say, "That's a really nice top," or "That's a really nice," and I've learned to say, "Look, thanks very much. Yep, I love it too. I'm glad and it is. It's about accepting and acknowledging, and because saying no, you're right. That's a fantastic point.
Awesome. Listen, Leanne, I'm going to push this conversation forward. It's been so wonderful having you here, and we're going to open this up and have anyone else come and join us in the seat. Tonight's conversation is My Story Marketing Daily Action Plan Towards Building Greater Influence, and we started this off with 5 suggestions as to how 5 suggestions that would be a part of your daily action plan, regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of what your value statement is, your unique value proposition is. I was suggesting that there are 5 areas that should contribute towards a daily action plan. And I'm going to go back to the beginning. Those 5 areas were, number 1, being absolutely in touch with your vision, the core inner vision that you have for what it is that jazzes you every day when you wake up. You can't wait to get engaged in doing this thing, right? Or if a job wasn't in the way, this is absolutely what you'd be doing. Whatever that thing is, embrace that vision. Number 2, in your action plan. So you might be working a job and you're still working towards this value that you want to deliver. So first of all, embrace that vision. Secondly, you've got to develop content with regards to that value. So if you are in the creative arts and you're a performing artist, you could be a dancer, you could be someone who is an oil on canvas artist, you could be a sculptor, you could be a spoken word person, a poet. It doesn't really matter what your profession is or what your skill is. You've got to develop content, and you've got to develop it on a daily basis, because this is your contribution. This is what you're giving to the world. You could be someone in the skilled professions, a carpenter, a brick mason, whatever it is. You've got to refine your craft. You've got to be working on your craft like every day. So this is a part of the second aspect of this. It's called content creation. Third is content exposure. Okay, so here's the value that you are going to deliver, or that you want to deliver to the marketplace every day. This is what you want to have as your contribution to the world. How is it that you're going to develop more exposure for what it is that you have as a value statement? How are you going to expose that? What are the methods that you're going to be using to give exposure to that value statement to as many people as possible? And how do you fit that into your daily plan? Does your daily plan of exposure include social media? And how are you going to be using social media? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Google Plus? Is it live stream? Are you going to be using live stream platforms like Google Hangouts or GoToWebinars or Blabs, or even one-to-many live stream platforms like Periscope or Meerkat? Are these going to be a part of your exposure mechanism? The other part is, if it's something, a product or a service, how is it that you focus attention on that product or service? Is advertising of any sort a part of your daily action plan? And if not, then it certainly needs to be, right? This conversation is really meant to stimulate ideas. Fourth is engagement. Okay, so now you've developed exposure for the value that you want to contribute to the world, and you've got people that are resonating with you. How is it that you are fixing, as a part of your daily action plan, engagement with the audience and follow up? How, in other words, do you find out whether or not, from these people that are responding to you, whether or not you have a fit for them? Because, the fifth thing is you providing a solution. So you could have people that are coming and inquiring about what it is that you're doing. You could have people that are following up to your emails, that announce what your value is. But do you really have a fit for them? Is what you're doing or what you're offering going to take them to the next level of enjoyment in their life? Are you going to overcome a challenge? Are you going to be a fix, a solution for what they're seeking to get them to the next level of their journey? So these are 5 things that I suggested are a part of your daily action plan, and I'd love to get someone else in the seat that has some input on this conversation. And Nadim, please.
One thing I could probably share is what
Melody, come on in.
What I share with my clients is to make social media part of their lifestyle, right? We all have to understand that social media has its own heartbeat. It has its own pace that everybody has to follow. You can't just go in there whenever you choose, banter on your drum for a couple of days and then leave, right?
Wow.
This is a marathon. It's a game of consistency, and it's a game of providing value. So a lot of my clients that are really, really busy doing their stuff, I usually make them, when I'm actually building that relationship with them, I actually force them to, force is a strong word, but I do get them to map out one whole day of their life with me. Is what does 24 hours in your shoes look like, right? And I break it down into 15-minute increments. And you'll realize that out of a full day, you can easily get 3 to 4 hours extra of productivity, right? A lot of people that are driving, for example, and it's not the number one thing I do recommend, but if you're driving, you can blab, you can Periscope while you're driving. Just focus on driving, know what you got to say, and say it. Okay.
We're attributing all accidents blab related to Nadim from this point forward. I just wanted to make that note, all right? Because this is the guy that's advocating.
You're not driving right now, are you? You're not driving right now, are you?
No, last time, yesterday I was. So, but again, safety first, okay, please. And the other thing is, for example, if you're having coffee, right? A lot of people just sit around, they'll read the newspaper or they'll watch news. Me personally, I'm not a big advocate of news because it's full of negativity. I'm not a big advocate of the newspaper because it's full of negativity. It's a matter of getting to the point. If I want to learn about what's going on in the world, I'll just Google it and find out, right? And move on with my day. But if you're sitting there having coffee, that's a good 15 minutes that you could probably type something up in your blog or even in a Facebook post and just send it out, right? Now, if you create that as a regular routine, every morning people drink coffee, right? So 15, 20 minutes of productive time, write something, share something, and you've done your coffee by then, and then you kind of move on. And as that consistency grows or it continues, you'll notice that your tribe, not everyone, just keep that in mind. Not everyone, just the people that can relate with you will actually start connecting with you, and your tribe will slowly start growing.
Awesome. 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 Melody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And where are you joining us from? What part of the world are you in?
I live in Santa Barbara, California.
Okay. Okay, I won't hold it against you, I promise.
Oh, obviously you've never been here then.
How's the weather in Santa Barbara? I'm jealous, right? I'm in Atlanta.
Beautiful. You're in Atlanta?
Wonderful.
That would be
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Awesome. So on the subject of My Story Marketing, can you tell us about your value that you are contributing to the world and how you are using perhaps your story as a part of your daily action plan, or not necessarily that, just tell us your value and give us some of the steps that are in your daily action plan for you reaching the goals that you have in delivering your value to the world.
Great. Well, I'd love to share that with you, but I would love to ask you a question.
Sure, absolutely.
And for me, something especially, and the reason why I was attracted to this blab is because it's about story. I have so many stories, and I have so many areas of which I love to work with people that trying to narrow it down to a specific, like I was looking at your 5 points, which I really loved, by the way. And, embracing a vision and creating content, I had no problem doing the action steps. Okay. That actually comes pretty easily to me. But choosing a specific, making the decision about that content creation and taking a stance for one kind of position is very, very challenging for me.
Right.
And I think it is for a lot of people. So I thought it would be interesting to sort of talk about that for a little bit. As far, it has to do with purpose. If I have and I know that my purpose is to be of service to others. There's so many different ways that I can do that. Then choosing what story to share and what kind of content to put out is sometimes a challenge.
I'd love to give you an example, if I may.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, and this is going to tie in with a young lady that asked about blogging. There was a young lady here that's in the audience, and she asked about blogging. She wanted to blog. She felt that, she was blogging every day. She wanted to know, was that too much? And so this is all going to tie in. I'm going to share with you my daily action plan, okay? And so it starts out with a vision. And that vision is that I want to help people create lifestyle freedom. Well, what does that mean to me? That means having an amazing life on your purpose, living in your purpose with no worries about how the monthly financial obligations are going to be met, and making a positive impact on the world around us. That is, to me, create lifestyle freedom. So I want to help other people that have that as a desire to attain that goal. And so in delivering that value, that philosophy, creating lifestyle freedom, and being free to be self-determining about, where you live, having access to actually all three freedoms: time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, having all three of those freedoms in place, helping people to attain that. So in doing that, I've come up with a daily plan of, on Mondays, I have a blog, Mentor with Mahdi. And on Mondays in the blog, one second. On Mondays in the blog, I speak to mentorship, entrepreneurship, leadership, because those are attributes that a person needs to have if they're wanting to create lifestyle freedom. You don't get that, you don't get freedom on accident.
Right.
You have to be taking serious actions in order to free yourself from what normal people are doing. I won't say normal people, but what what the average person is doing to gain income. There's this crazy thing that says, this mindset that says that job equals income, and job and income are two totally different things. Everybody that's 16 years of age or older on any continent needs income, but not everybody needs a job, right? They're two different things. And so on Monday, I speak to mentorship, entrepreneurship, and leadership. On Tuesday in my blog, I speak specifically to the subject of my story marketing, how you can take your life experiences and craft a bigger vision for the value that you want to deliver to the world using your life experiences. How do you do that? So my story marketing on Tuesday speaks to that. On Wednesday, I speak to global wealth networks, a phenomenon that's happening all around the world that I spoke about just a few minutes ago. And this is how people around the world, different continents, different backgrounds, different educational experiences, different skill sets, are locking arms online now in the 21st century because of the tools that we have available to help us mastermind and collaborate. People are finding ways to lock arms and come up with project-based income models versus job-based income models. 10 years ago, prior to us having the ability to live stream like this, it wasn't physically possible for us to find ways to use online systems to have monies flow to us as easily as we do now. So we're living in an age of my story marketing, and we're living in an age of global wealth networks. So on Wednesday, I take my blog and I speak to that topic, global wealth networks. Now, you got to understand that all of this is under the umbrella of Create Lifestyle Freedom. So it started with the vision, right? That's why I said embrace the vision first. And then from that, everything else comes. Thursday, I have a simple blog entry that speaks about online business tips. Nothing life-altering, nothing earth-shattering, just my contribution to, hey, here's something that might save you time if you're working online. Here's a tip for you. So I throw that out on Thursday, right? Friday is where I speak specifically to the subject of Create Lifestyle Freedom. So Monday, mentorship, leadership, entrepreneurship. Tuesday, my story marketing. Wednesday, global wealth networks. Thursday, online business tips. Friday, Create Lifestyle Freedom. And that's how I framed how I create content that supports my bigger vision. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, because I think what you've essentially done there, created for yourself, is a content calendar.
Right.
Right. The only thing I can add for you with what you have going on is, and it's a really, really simple question for a lot of people that want to build a content calendar, is just, the question is, what do you want your audience to do?
That's your call to action.
Right? That should be a consistent question in the back of your mind.
Yep.
That when you're writing content, ultimately, see, the way I explain it to a lot of my clients is, you got to look at it like a long hallway, okay, with a bunch of doors on each side. And your job as a consultant is, first off, you are already in a position of leadership because you're guiding somebody. 2 is to open up the doors and show them what their options are, but ultimately you want to take them down to the last door at the end of the hallway, which is either buy my product or consult with me or support me in my vision and my values. Right? It could be any one of those 3 things. So the content that you're writing, a lot of things that I share with my clients is, whatever you're writing about, right? If it's very human, like, for example, I went to Tim Hortons today, I got my coffee, they screwed up my order. They gave me somebody else's coffee, right? So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how does this affect the brand of the coffee shop itself with a bad experience, right? Now I can go onto social media and write a short little blog, little post about it, and then reach out to my tribe and say, hey, what would you guys do in this situation, right? So I'm sharing a personal story, I'm adding value from a branding perspective, and I'm also getting my tribe's opinion. So I'm getting to them to draw them into a story that most likely they probably had some kind of experience very parallel to that in their own life, right? So back to my point is, all the writing that you do should be with some sort of objective within it, because there's a lot of people that I know. I actually had one client that works in the hairdressing business, and she has a newsletter, and she came up with 365 tips, okay, to promote your salon. She used to send out an email every day with one or two sentences, but she had no idea, or I think it was more of a fear thing for herself to ask for money, right? Because for consultants or business people, for them to come up with ideas, that's a challenging part of our business, right? And she's just spitting off all these creative ideas. She's got literally a book to herself, a book of 365 tips on how to promote your salon. And I said, well, why don't you turn that into an ebook, charge people for it? And her immediate question is, why would people pay me for it? Right? So go ahead.
So I love this, and content is a key part of how I grow my business, and I get money because of content. So two things. Number one, one of the reasons I want to pop in is, where do you get content? The best place to get content are straight from your current clients. You know, the questions that they're adding into a blog post. One of the things that I like to do, and I never read them, but I look at what are the trending topics out there. I use like BuzzSumo, and I put in social selling or branding, and I just look at the topics that are most trending. And I do not read them until after I've written my post, but I take the topic and go with that because it's what's trending. It's what people are interested in. So the other thing is, if you're a talker and not a writer, I have Dragon Dictation on my phone. So I talk, it transcribes it for me. I email it to myself, and I create a blog out of that. So if I'm in the middle of a great idea, I start to audio tape it. And that almost always turns into a good blog. And lastly, the greatest things that I've done is I look with content is I make sure I look at what other people that I want to follow me, what are they liking and sharing. So I find my prospect on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and I go, what are they favoriting? What are they sharing? What are they tweeting? That's the stuff I should be talking about, because that's what they care about. And that really is the first step in social selling, is listening. So if you're not doing that, you don't know what they care about. And then sometimes you start talking about the stuff you want to talk about, not the stuff that they want to hear. So for me, that's the very first thing. I also think there are 7 elements to a good blog. I'm not going to go through all 7 elements, but the two that I think are most important is, number one, you've got to have implementable takeaways in every single blog, every single post, whatever it is, that at the end of that post, they go, wow, that was really worth my time, and I have something to go do or look up or try now. And when you do that, if someone takes a note when they're reading your blog post, I think it's a huge success. The second of the 7 that is vital is your call to action. So that's a lot of what Nadim said. That call to action is really important. It could be numerous things. My number one call to action is I ask for a phone call. If this resonates with you and you'd like to discuss, and I have a link, schedule a call with Bryn.com. Anyone can schedule 15 or 30 minutes with me at any time. So I convert many of my readers to phone calls. Now, in that phone call, it has to be 100% insightful. I don't sell on that phone call. But at the end of that 15 minutes, if that's what they scheduled, I will say, we've kind of reached our 15 minutes. I hope I provided some value for you, and I've made sure that I have. And then I say, and I've got lots of other ideas and ways that I love to share with you and how we work with clients can I schedule another call with you?
Awesome.
So you never, I don't sell until I've provided so much value that they can't wait to buy from me.
Awesome. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are 7:48, and I promised myself that I always want to contain these blab sessions within an hour, and we have done an excellent job. It's been such a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Nadim, for joining us. Bryn, it's always a pleasure. Leanne Isaacson.
Thank you.
Melody, all of those people who were with us
It was
today
a great group
and contributed to the conversation. The good news is that next Sunday we'll be carrying this conversation forward in part 2 of My Story Marketing. I won't give you what the other part of the subtitle is, but it's going to be on the subject of My Story Marketing next Sunday at 6:30. In order to make sure that you're subscribing for that upcoming blab, let me just type this into the chat. Hopefully that came out. And Nadim has a future blab too. Nadim is a thought leader and certainly an influencer. Nadim, you're welcome to share your blab.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Next week, I'm still confirming a time just by later on tonight, but it will be on Tuesday, and it's about disruptive thinking.
Awesome. Bryn, do you have a regularly scheduled blab?
I do every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. My next one is starting conversations with your target audience.
Right, and you're such a strategic person with your content that I know people are going to get tons of value because you're the how-to person.
I am.
People that are looking for how-to answers absolutely want to connect with Bryn Tillman on her blab on Monday. So if you can post your blab there in the comments, it would be wonderful.
Yep, I did already.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, again, it's been a wonderful conversation. On behalf of the blab community, on behalf of my distinguished panelists, we all wish you a pleasant evening. We'll see you soon. Have a good night.
You're awesome. Thank you.